name is Energy Wisdom Trinitarium, and you know about these intelligible guests I always have with me. But guess what? Drum roll, please. They are here again, and yes, I won't be doing this alone. I have amazing guests with me, and I'm sure you can't wait to explore this topic with me. Trust me, it is one that is going to capture your hearts and your interest. Okay, so first of all, let's get comfortable. Take a glass of water, stretch your legs, get comfy in your seat, and let's go for a ride. Okay, great guys. We're going to go right to it since we're a bit behind time. The time is 23 minutes past the hour of 3 p.m. I'm good. Okay, great guys. We'll go right to it since we're a bit behind time. The time is 24 minutes past the hour of 3 p.m. But very quickly, before we jump right to the topic for today, I'd like us to observe 1 minute silence for Miss Fido's student therapy department who passed away last week. Okay, may her soul rest in perfect peace. Very quickly, I'll introduce you to my guests for today, and then I'll introduce my topic to you. I think we should do the topic first before my guests, because I think this is one that will interest you people. So for today on Civic Advocacy, we'll be discussing analysis of the 2024 Cross River State Youth Budget Allocation. The analysis of the 2024 Cross River State Youth Budget Allocation. Let's go right to it. Let my guests introduce themselves. I'm sure they will blow your mind. I'm looking at fine boys and fine girls, so honestly, but my steez can't drop. Man's not hot. Nothing is moving. I'm not tripping. Okay, guys, let's hear from you. What are your names? Introduce yourselves.
And I'm Goldie Kodeme.
Goldie. Welcome back. I'm Goldie.
My name is God's Love Divine, as usual.
Welcome back, God's love. God's love. When I say somebody was entering my eye, I do not say it's you, Sha. My steez cannot drop. Okay, let's jump right. Why are you laughing? Stop now. I want to be married by this time next year. Very quickly, this show today is going to provide an in-depth analysis of the youth budget allocation in Cross River State. The discussion will examine how funds are allocated to youth programs and initiatives, the effectiveness of these allocations in addressing youth needs, and the overall impact on the youth development. The conversation will also explore transparency in budget processes, stakeholder involvement, and recommendations for optimizing budget allocation to better serve the youth in Cross River State. So yes, I know that you have many questions in your mind. Some of you are wondering, oh, so there's even a budget for us. How does this thing work? God's love, tell us, how does this thing work? Or at least, what should we expect from today's show, from today's topic? Budget allocation, youth budget allocation. What should we?
So the way a budget allocation works is that you'd take out all of the things that have been specifically allocated to young people out of the main budget. So that's how we do an analysis of a budget allocation or a budget allocation.
Okay. So I think he's giving us basically an overview of what we should expect, what we should think of when we hear this youth budget analysis thingy. So guys, let's start asking those big questions on your mind. Um, Trust me, this one is definitely going to relate all of the questions that you've been thinking of, or that all of the things you're wondering about. I for one didn't even know that we had something like youth. Honestly, I'm being honest now. If I had known, I want to know who I should meet and go and ask uncle, please now give me my own part of the budget. But these budgets are being channeled into specific things, to empower the youth, for the show, for the skill acquisition programs. I guess, I saw something like initiatives. So let's just get to it. What is the current budget allocation in Cross River State, and which areas receive the most funding?
Okay, so to answer that question, I first have to talk about the budget in full. So
Exchanging like
I can't hear
who be
you.
talking more?
Him. Hear you. So what is the current budget allocation in Cross River State, and which areas receive the most funding?
okay, so basically what we did to get these figures was that we had to analyze the approved 2024 budget, which was tagged the People's First Budget by the governor, Senator Prince Basio II. And the what was approved, as the budget for 2024 was the sum of 296 billion naira, right, for
Wow, that's a lot of
yes, that's
money.
a lot of money to cover activities in Cross River State for the period of 2024. And if you take a look at the budget, right, you'd see that there's there's um, there's like 116 billion that has been earmarked for recurrent expenditure,
I'm sorry, am
and
I hearing millionaire or billion, like later B
billion.
for ball, B for balloon? Wow. Okay, carry on.
So what recurrent expenditure means is that whether or not a new person comes into seat, that money
Mm.
still has to, um, yes, it
It's
keeps
still our
coming.
money.
Yes, it keeps coming. That expenditure must happen,
Okay.
right?
Billion naira.
Breakdown, we can see that was allocated 104.9 billion.
Hmm.
The law and justice sector was allocated 7.9 billion.
Powerful.
The regional sector was allocated 1.2 billion naira. The social sector was, of which youth affairs 42 was allocated 86 billion naira, and then the general administration sector was allocated 95.8 billion.
Mm. I think the part that really got me is where you said there is a continuity, right? And I think it's actually very comforting that, because we hear that from one administration to the other, when there's change in power or in government, then you hear of abandoned projects here, they not complete that bridge. Oh, they were fixing that road, but since it's not my project, I'm going to leave it there and start a new one. I mean, why not complete that first one before moving to the new one? It will still be, is you, this governor or this president that did it. But what do I know? Let me. So this is why I say it's comforting to know that even if there's a change in government or in administration, we're still going to get that budget allocation.
Not exactly though. Expenditure, and that means, right?
Okay.
Since that capital expenditure was put under my budget, it means that my project will probably will not be continued unless the next thing, decides that okay,
Yeah.
we want to do a continuity of government thing, and we
Yeah.
want to continue this project.
And that rarely happens.
Exactly.
Okay, I take back my comfort. It's not comforting again.
What happens? Administrative costs, overhead costs, personnel costs, salaries, office upkeep, and all of that.
Okay, so what is the current youth budget allocation in Cross River State, and what are some of the youth programs funded by the current budget? Should I take it again? Should I take
No,
question?
I got a good
Okay, you
grasp
got
of the
it.
question. Yes. So for 2024,
Yeah.
so for the youth budget allocation, right, how we came to get the figures was that we first of all went to the Ministry of Youth. So we got a copy of the 2024 approved budget.
So
and
let me cut you there. There's
Yeah.
a Ministry of Youth of
Yes, the Ministry of Youth Development.
Please, where now?
So before it used to be youth and sports, but then it
Okay.
was broken down into youth development and sports development.
So please, what do they do there? Is it that we can, as youth, we can go there and beg for money? Give
Not-
us updates.
Not exactly. So the Ministry of Youth
Okay.
Development is like, it's an office, right?
Yes.
Where there's a commissioner that you can walk up to or meet any day, anytime, regarding issues on youth development. So
Yes.
we know that, I think when you were when you were giving introductory remarks, right? One of
Yeah.
the things that you mentioned was that with youth, right? When you mention youth, there's always something like skills development and all of that.
Yes.
So the Ministry of Youth Development, mostly does projects and initiatives around, empowerment, youth empowerment, youth skill development, and all of that. So it's like an office for young people, and we're fortunate enough to have a commissioner that is a young person.
Wow. Okay, let me give our commissioner. You celebrate your grace, sir. So let me hit you with the question again. What is the current youth budget allocation in Cross River State, and what are some of the youth programs funded by the current budget?
So if we look at the budget holistically, we can pinpoint that out of the 296 billion, right, that was earmarked for.
This billion is triggering a lot of things. Please carry on.
So out of the 296.9 billion, right, that was earmarked for the whole 2024 expenditure, only about 1.6 billion was specifically allocated for youth development. And the thing is, the 1.6 billion did not just come out of Ministry of Youth, right? It came out of Ministry of Youth, it came out of Ministry of Agriculture, it came out of Ministry of Science, and some other ministries. So from Ministry of Youth, we have 870 million that was allocated to them, for as capital expenditures, for their initiatives. And then we have from Ministry of Agriculture, we have 70 million, and then we have 703 million from Ministry of Science and Technology. So that's how the money came to be.
So that means more or less it's like a collective thing. It didn't just come from one particular ministry there. This one brings their own, this one brings their own. So that Nigerian YouTube will see that they're putting in a lot for us, right? It's a collective thing, and all of them have a specific amount that has been stipulated in this budget allocation. How effective have these budget allocations been in addressing the needs of the youth in the states? How exactly has this budget allocation been addressing the needs of the youth? Because someone might be listening, a young person, man or woman or lady or whatever, and they're wondering, I'm hearing youth budget allocation. I know that budget is money, but what have you people, like, where I've not seen it? So how effective have the budget allocation been in addressing the needs of youth in the state?
I mean, again, if you look at it, from previous administrations, and then if you now look at it from this administration, you would see that it's not been very very effective. For example, in the last budget, the 2023 budget of I think the past governor called it some quantum infinitum, right?
Oh,
That was what he tagged it as.
English.
And then you could see that the budget that was allocated to Ministry of Youth alone was 4.8 billion,
Okay.
right? And this money was supposed to be used for several things. For example, I know that there was 1 billion naira that was allocated for the Fabrication Academy on Highway, and it was just allocated for research. So I mean, if you're using 1 billion naira to do research, right? What's supposed to be aren't we supposed to see the result of the research?
Yes.
I mean, and then so after the research, there was now 3 billion that was allocated, for the fabrication teaching itself, right? And we if we want to be honest with ourselves, we can say that I don't think that money was used very 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 effectively,
Because they didn't have evidence to show to us.
there's no evidence, there's no proof, right? There's no social proof. First of all, how many people, if people actually went to the Fabrication Academy, right? What exactly did they learn that would cost 3 billion naira?
3 billion. How many persons were reached out to SEF?
Exactly. These
feed
are the
them?
things that we have to also consider. But looking at this current administration, right, it
Yeah.
looks like the whole process is more transparent. I mean, we have from the Ministry of Youth alone, we have 840 million naira, and there's already been, so this current commissioner has already started, putting out initiatives, skill up programs, and all of those things to ensure that this money is not just spent wisely, but then it reaches the people who need it the most.
Okay. And then there will be a means of accountability, so
Yes.
that we won't say that we did not see it. We only had numbers on TV or on the radio. We just had numbers, but we did not see what you did. Okay. I think that's reasonable enough. But then, how transparent is the budget allocation process? How transparent is it, and how can it be improved?
Okay, so as young people, right, I'm sure we did not even hear anything about the budget. Like Wisdom said at the start of the program. So a lot of people had been wondering, yeah, also we actually have like things allocated
Telling you, me, I'm
to the
wondering.
to the budget. I mean, and it's not because it was not transparent enough, right? It's because that as young people, sometimes we don't take action immediately. But if we want to talk about transparency, right, I think that currently the current administration is trying their best as much as possible. But there are still a couple of hurdles, that people have to surmount. I think first of all, if so, trying to access these budgets was very very difficult for me. I spent a couple of weeks, hunting down leads online, and it didn't turn out to it did not work, right? I nothing found out. I also reached out to a couple of blogs to ask for details. How can I get a copy of the 2024 approved budget?
Yeah.
Most of them responded that they didn't have the approved budget. What they had was the press statement that was released by the governor's press aide, right? When he gave the speech about when he gave the speech to announce that the budget has been passed, has been approved.
Yeah.
And some of these things, are things that could be approved. And then again, right, with the level of detail in the budget. So the budget that I got, so I finally got a copy of the budget, and that was thanks to the special advisor to the governor on budget monitoring and analysis,
Okay.
Mr. Oyoita,
To celebrate your great
who
self.
who was kind enough to call me in for a meeting and give me a hard copy of the approved budget. And the hard copy
Wow.
of the approved budget was a couple hundreds of pages.
Whoa, so it was more or less like a compendium.
Yeah, so it
big.
was large, and I had to analyze page by page So it took me a while, and with the level of detail, right, it would be hard for an ordinary citizen to grasp. But then
Yeah.
again, the special advisor to the governor on budget monitoring was also kind enough to point me out to the Cross River State Internal Revenue Service
Okay.
website,
Yeah.
where citizens could go and access a condensed copy of the budget, and then they could tell that this is where so and so money is going to, and they could see with their eyes
Mm.
and track, right?
Okay.
But for the planning, from the planning of the budget, I think that it wasn't transparent enough, because I mean that nobody heard anything about it. We
Mm.
just heard, okay, someone has come into office, and then the next thing we knew it was that a proposed budget was dropped,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was not approved, and there was like 90
So that one
billion.
wasn't transparent. Like it was like the story no clear.
Yeah, like there was 90 billion that was now added to the budget.
Ha.
So there was a
What
lot.
was this 90 billion for? It was not accounted for. Just they just put. Was it just digits or was it actual money?
It's actual money. It's actual
90
money.
billion. No, it's actual money.
It's actual money. So the from the statements and from what I've seen
You are
from
blowing my
this current
mind.
administration, right?
Okay.
The People First budget, 2024 budget, is a deliberate budget, in that it is not just meant for young people. It's meant for the whole Cross River State,
Okay.
and it is meant for. So the budget basically tries to allocate resources in a way that benefits everybody, right? That's why they tag the people first, and
Yeah.
it's to focus on human capital development, infrastructural development, economic empowerment, and all of those things.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I think this is like a very very detailed breakdown, and let me give you your own your own accolades too. Okay, guys, it's been a blast so far, but let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll hear from Miss Gold. So just remember that you can call us and air your view, give us your opinion, tell us what you think. The number to call is 090 6988 0789. I'll take it again. 090 6988 0789. We'll be right back. Okay, I know you've stretched your legs because I've stretched mine too. So we're back from that very short break, and let's hear from Miss Gold. What role do stakeholders, including the youth, because the youth have to be part of this, of course. So, what role do they play in the budget formulation and implementation process?
Okay, so the role of the youth in the budget formulation process include youth participation, active involvement, decision making, community mobilization, financial contribution, monitoring and
Okay.
evaluation, and then leadership and capacity building, as well as participatory budgeting
There's a lot of
and
shun.
community engagement. So since it's for the youth, this budget is for the youth.
Yeah,
They have to be more engaged in the
part
process.
of it.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why they have the community engagement, where youth can now engage with community members, organizations, and stakeholders to ensure that their needs and priorities are represented in the budget. Because you cannot say this is for youth and then you don't have a member of the youth
Exactly.
amongst
Exactly.
you.
That representation is key because I don't want to know that you have a program for me, but I can't be part of it. I don't even know what's going. You people are making decisions for me. So when you finish, you not tell me go left, I'll go left. Me, I'll not agree. I'll go right. Okay.
So that's just the role of the youth. Because if they are not there to say, okay, as youth, we want this in place,
Yeah.
these are what we are lacking and these are what we need, then you cannot actually give it to them. Because you're going to be looking at it from your own point of view, whereas those that are involved, that are going to be part of this process, do not know about it or have little or no idea what you're budgeting for. That's just the role of the
Wow.
youth
I
in
think
the
I think
budget process.
I actually like this one. See, there are some points that used to hit me, especially when you're telling me that you're doing this thing for me and you want me to be part of it. That means if I tell you, if you're allocating, please, all this billion, let me use our urgent 2K that people will understand very easily, right? If we say we need sneakers for a sports or boots rather for a football game, and it's going to cost us like 200K. No, you're budgeting 200K for us, but I'm like, I'm the youth involved in this process, and I can tell you, or at least my own opinion matters as well. So I can contribute and say, no, sir, 200K will not do the job. Oh. How about we do 250?
Okay, so you
Because
can actually get more quality.
exactly. So we are allowed to be part of all of this, and I like this one. So, what are the main challenges faced in the allocation and utilization of the youth budget? What are the main challenges faced? Ooh la la la. So you're getting ready to answer the question. Shake this table, okay? Let's
Okay,
hear
before
from
I
you.
get right into answer my question, I would like to introduce myself first.
Okay. Yes.
So, I'm Effiong Esther.
Effiong Esther. Hear the name now. See how salesy. This is salesy. Okay, Miss Esther, tell us what are the main challenges faced in the allocation and utilization of the youth budget?
Okay, we'll see that the main challenges. Hey God. Okay, we'll see that the main challenges that we face in the allocation and utilization of the youth budget are limited resources. Okay, so most times we have insufficient funds for a youth program or any youth development or anything that is supposed to be for the youth. Like there are no much resources that are distributed to this program or developments that are meant for the youth. So another one we have is lack of clear priorities. So most times, in a youth development or a youth program, you don't have a clear goal or objective.
I think this one is a problem everywhere because if you're planning towards something and you don't get your priorities straight, you're buying souvenir before you pay for venue.
Exactly. Like,
so where do you want to do the is it on the main road you will marry? Pay for venue before you plan souvenir. So they just misplace the priority. Let me hear
that's
you.
it. So when they don't have a clear understanding of their objective,
Yeah.
it causes problem, you know.
Of course
It
not.
doesn't make you get what you're aiming for or what the whole thing is all about. Okay, so we also have corruption and mismanagement. So in this, we see that there are
Gang, gang, gang,
embezzlement of funds.
Gang, 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 gang.
So in this, we see that there is always a lot of embezzlement of funds. Imagine if let's say God's love mentioned 90
God's
90
love,
billion.
yeah, call your name. Gang, 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 gang.
So imagine if 90 billion is given to a particular youth development to say, okay, just use it to run the whole stuff,
Yeah.
and then one person is just taking, maybe will just take, okay, let me just take 40 billion out of this. You get, like, this is fucking. Like, let me just take 40
Wait, guys, you
billion.
need to understand this B for balloon I've been hearing since. Billion is like after you count million, like hundreds. A be 100 will now give you 1 billion. And you now do this thing times 90. Yeah. Then one fine uncle will now say, no,
It's too much. Like,
it's
do you
too
get?
much. Let me remove
Let me just remove
40.
my own share.
Oh my God, the color of thunder.
So I would say that greediness also coming in this. When you see that
Greed, yeah.
like, why should all this money just go for this small youth development or small youth program you get, and you be like, let me just take like 50 first for myself.
Oh,
You get,
catchy.
it's so painful. It's so painful when you think about all those stuff. And then we look at lack of transparency and accountability. We see that making it difficult to
Okay, oh please, you
Okay.
should help me, neighbors. God's love is dragging my shirt. He say he wants to talk about this one.
Okay.
It's like they've stolen his money before they.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say I wanted to talk about. I just said I wanted to contribute. So
Okay.
I'll let Esther finish her points.
Okay, Miss Esther, please.
If you want to contribute, please.
People should tell us this table you're pampering it. Break the legs. Break the legs. Okay, let me hear you.
Okay, so I was going to add to Esther's point on misplaced priorities. I think that in Nigeria, in this country, let's be honest with
People
ourselves.
should leave my country alone. Every time this Nigeria, this like go to Canada. Go.
So in this country, the thing is, our politicians are more focused on numbers. So for example, if they want to hold a project, they would rather prefer that rather than investing 10 million naira in 10 people, let me invest 1 million naira in 1,000 people. Exactly. So that's the thing. They're more concerned with numbers. And what gets them the numbers more? Skill acquisition and empowerment. Fill form and get 10,000 naira. They'll teach you graphic design or they'll teach you how to sew, right? And at the end, they'll give you sewing machine. That's what our politicians are more concerned with. And with the first point that she raised, limited resources. I mean, if we want to take a good look at it, the youth budget allocation for 2024 is just half of 1%. That's 0.5% of the entire budget.
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting. I'm just coming from a meeting, where someone had to quote the population of Cross River State, and then let us know that Cross River State is more than 60% youth. So if there are more than 60% young people in Cross River State, how come, although it's a people first budget, right? So it's trying to focus on everybody. But how come only 1% of the budget, only 0.5% of the budget is allocated to young people? So
Wait, that last part. The whole budget is for us, but only a percentage is allocated to us.
the whole budget, yeah, it's a people first budget, so it's for everybody.
Okay.
But only 0.5%.
So you see why I asked you the location of this place, so that we will carry weapon. Which is zero point what? So all this B for balloon, billion, 90 billion, 126 billion is 0.5 that is for the youth.
That's what we say.
The worst part be say we no even see them because I not see you. I'm hearing. Okay. Set up. Nice one. 0.5. Nice one. Okay. These are my comments. How can these challenges be addressed to ensure more effective use of funds? Please answer this with utmost, looking for one big dictionary word to give to you. Because me, I'm ready to fight. I am that youth. I repeat, oh please, Malabites and Malabrists listening to me, young people out there, all of you that are prepared to go to this place and fight. I am leading. I will go. Please, oh, it's not me that said it. Oh, I'm joking. Please tell me, how can these challenges be addressed to ensure more effective use of funds?
Okay, so I remember last week we were talking about tracking of projects. I think this is where we have to, after saying that this amount of money is being budgeted for youths, how far are we going to make sure that actually this amount of money is
Well,
being
Sir
used
God
for the
love, sure you
youth?
heard what I heard now. I asked this fine girl a question. She asked me a question back. You you not answer my question.
Okay, so we have increased funding for youth programs. This one we should not be wanting to talk about because the funds are always there,
Yeah.
but they're not being effectively used. There's no tracking. Like if we're releasing 1 million naira for youth, how far is this 1 million naira being used? We just say we released 1 million and then there's nothing to do there.
Mm.
And then we have prioritizing of youth needs and involvement.
Mm. Okay.
Now,
Okay.
with the way things are going, everyone out there is hungry and then things are not going fine. Then you're not coming to tell a youth that, let me give you 2,000. I mean, you're coming to give me 2,000 now for today, for this moment, this hour. What about the next hour? What happens to that? So while
Yeah.
I'm saying you want to just give me something I'll just use for the meantime, why don't you empower me for a lifetime? Give me something that I can use. Like this way you say, don't give me the fish, teach me how to fish. Don't
Yeah.
just give
Yeah.
me that fish,
Yeah.
let me go and eat. Teach me how to fish. Then that means you have to now prioritize our youth needs. And then this cannot be done if our youth are not effectively involved in our processes. And then
Yeah.
improve allocation efficiency. There should not just be numbers written in papers and then there's no release of
Exactly.
funds actually to this
Exactly.
ministry. And then we have to strengthen transparency and accountability measures, enhance youth participation, encourage them. When these youth come out, when you're encouraging them, you encourage the youth by you're hosting a program for the youth, and then they come out, you're engaging them. Subsequently, you do another program that's it's not just you're calling out them out, you're empowering them, you're engaging them, give them things that they can go back and say, oh,
Yes, that empowerment
okay,
is
that time
key.
wey I be go this program, so
Mm.
shey dem give me like this to make I come carry another person come again. You're going to
Exactly.
now have youth coming out to want to take part in government politics because then you're being transparent and then you're open enough. You're giving them things they can hold on to and say,
That's deep. So
so
let's.
we have other points as to regular monitoring and evaluation, capacity
Okay.
building for youth organizations, and then reduce
9 and
political
10.
interference.
Okay, reduce political interference. I think your points are really deep and clear. But very quickly before we round off for today, please tell us what recommendations would you suggest for optimizing youth budget allocation in Cross River? I think God's love. Would you like to take that question?
Okay, so I think to optimize youth budget allocation in Cross River, I think one of the most important things would be to conduct a needs assessment.
Mm.
So young people know what their problem is. They know where it's touching them. They know where it's pinching them. You give it to them, right? They can easily tell you my needs. And I think that youth needs assessment is one of the first things that should be done. And then another thing that should be done is to probably bring together a couple of young persons and say, okay, you guys are recognized bodies in or recognized individuals in Cross River State. We need you to come together and form a sort of youth budget committee. And basically, what you're trying to do is not to say we need 1 billion projects, but what you're trying to do is to say, okay, we want to ensure that more youth are carried along, and we want to also advocate for youth friendly policies. So whatever ministries are putting out, you're also doing background checks, to try to ensure that these programs, these initiatives are youth friendly as well. So another thing again would be to bring in community-based organizations. We have, I think, Cross River State has a very, very, very high number of community-based associations, organizations rather. In I think it has almost the highest, right, in Nigeria, because they're quite a lot. And the best thing that we can do is to bring them along. Remember in the first show where I spoke about Siphon, which is trying to, encourage entrepreneurial ecosystem, and they are doing the results mapping, right? You can bring them in, and you can bring in other organizations as well.
Okay, guys, it's been a guest anchor for the show, Civic Advocacy. My name is Eneja Wisdom Chinitri. I'll see you next week at the same time, 3 p.m. for Civic Advocacy. Why are you giving me that eye? What is it? What do you want to say? Tell us, Miss Esther, very quickly.